guys, welcome to Weekly Travel Updates. I'm Melinda Fargas, and I'm happy to be here with you. You know, I worked on my elevator pitch, and the one that won, here it is. I'm Melinda Fargas. I help busy professionals take that needed vacation and show them how to write it off of their taxes through professional development journeys. We are going to Hawaii next year. So if that is something that interests you, reach out to me. It's on the books. We are excited. It is the 10th of March, and lots of things have gone on just today. There was a tornado hit in Orlando today, 115 miles per hour. It did quite a bit of damage, and one news channel was on air when it happened. You can look at my news channel, which is WRAL.com, and see the story. It was pretty wild. But tonight I am going to tell you about the second overboard that we've got for the season. Man, it was during an 80s music cruise this week. And if you have heard me mention before, my friend Tony from La Lita Loca, he was on that ship. More about it soon. Then I'm going to tell you about some spring break deals. Man, you know, Delta Vacations is doing $250 off any air and 3-night or longer stay. And not to be beat, Southwest Vacations is giving you $100 off air and a 3-night hotel stay or longer. Then we're going to jump into some wild things that happened this week. You know, there are 11 ships that had been stuck at sea for days. During the cyclone that was down under Australia and New Zealand, man, they are all back in port now. I didn't see any reported injuries, but one of the YouTubers that I watch called Down Under Cruisers, he's got some wild stories to tell about it. He had passengers because most of these sailings were shorter sailings. So it got a lot of local travelers. And boy, he's got some doozies to tell. Anyway, we don't have that. And it's one of the reasons that I will not cruise to Hawaii across the Pacific. Hardly any time, but for sure not in hurricane season, because we get those and they do cause rogue waves. So more about tonight. I was reading something very interesting this week, and you know, we're in a period where people are struggling maybe. Well, I want to teach you something new from a friend in Norway. They get up in the morning and they say, up and not crying. So if someone asks you tomorrow, how are you doing today? Say, up and not crying. That's what they say in Norway. I just thought that was funny. Sorry about that. I have had an influx of new followers, particularly Instagram, and I'm thrilled to death. But I want to invite you guys right now, before I get into the details of the stories tonight, to like and share on my YouTube channel. It's Weekly Travel Updates 2866 it's on YouTube. So just stick that in and you will find it. Okay, we're going to jump in here and let me tell you what has gone on this week. So our first story, dread it or not, is the overboard on the Explorer of the Seas. So there were lots of bands, lots of people partying, and one of the band leaders had a fiance. They had a public fight. Like many people after this girl went overboard have posted this. I will give you more details next week, but it is something to watch for. It's not a minor incident anymore. And about 11:30 p.m. after their set, that my friend Tony from La Lita Loca, he was there at the set. Anyway, I'm embarrassed because I can't remember the full name. Pussycat News. It's Pussycat something band, and he's the lead singer, and it's his fiance. Anyway, it's a second overboard in 2025. Her name was Kimberly Birch, and she went overboard. Her mom said she was terribly excited about this cruise, couldn't believe that it happened, particularly not on the first night. This was not typical. It's the lead singer of Faster Pussycat. That's what it is. Okay, next. Do you know that we have only a year left for Baltimore? If you are a Loyal to Royal cruise fan, go to Baltimore before the ship leaves there. Baltimore is just too small of a cruise port for any of the bigger ships to come in that port. And there are no other Royal Caribbean ships that are not somewhere else in the world. They're not going to move anybody there. So you have until October of next year. And I'm saying that because we're working on a group out of Norfolk, which is on the Carnival Sunshine. I know, but we've done the ship twice. It had lots of upgrades. We were pleased. And if we avoid a time with spring breakers and a lot of kids in summer, it has a lot to add. And it's from Norfolk, and it's a 6 or an 8 night sailing. But BWI, Baltimore. If you've not sailed out of Baltimore, it's a cool experience because you sail down the river into the ocean before it goes south. And if you're in our local viewing area, whether you like them or not, it's a good deal. I've never flown them, but Spirit Airlines out of Greensboro has a new nonstop to Baltimore. And it's like $39, $49, or $59. I can't drive it for that. Anyway, if you don't need to drive to Baltimore, it's a good way to get there. We are talking about spring break reminders. You know, there was a med student who has gone missing in Punta Cana. Talk to your spring breakers. One of the legalities has brought Carnival Cruise Line to the notion that they're not going to allow you to take you and your 2 kids and 2 friends of theirs. It's not going to be allowed anymore. That's new. And then they've also upped the age to 25 years old. So now you have to be 25 years old. It was previously 21 years old. Somebody in the cabin had to be 25. Now you have to be 25, or you have to be legally married. There's some little ways around it, but for the most part, I think people need to know that, because I'm afraid that college-age kids have booked some cruises and they're going to get there, and saying I didn't know is not going to result in a refund. Okay, let's jump down to under travel news. In the middle, thousands of cruises were canceled because of this cyclone down under. They are all back in port. I put that in before everybody made it back in port today, but if I've shown you the cruise mapper where you can find the ship that you want to be on, or you have family who's on, and you can track it. Well, all of them made it in today. That's 11 ships, 20,000 people minimum. Anyway, I want to tell you about a cruise passenger who was arrested in Aruba. Guys, this passenger got off the ship. Don't know whether he had a pistol with him when he got off, but when he got back on the ship, he tried to go through and he had a pistol. He was just denying that it was even his. Although when you get back on a ship, you throw your backpack or bag or whatever you're carrying, and it goes through a metal detector. He's in hot water, arrested immediately. I read something this week that said Charlotte, North Carolina, had confiscated more than 50 weapons in 2025. I don't know what people are thinking. Obviously, some are getting through because they're still trying it. Anyway, another story. Okay, let's go to the next. Santorini has reopened. Not for cruises. They're still banned, but their schools went back into session this week. Families are coming back to their homes. It seems the swarm of earthquakes has subsided to the point that they are trying to make life normal again. It's been close to a month that the cruise ships have been banned, and I have honeymooners going to Santorini, but it's all for next year. So I think we'll be good by then. If you've got a cruise, just realize that Santorini and Mykonos are two very cool places to go. We've done it on sailings many times. If you get on that sailing, or if you plan this trip and then Santorini or Mykonos or both of them are taken off the itinerary, that is at the cruise line's discretion. Just remember that, because some people get super mad. It is at the cruise line's discretion. That's why you should work with a professional travel agent that'll take care of you. Okay. Travel warnings. Okay, we're going into spring break. Guess who went from a level 1 travel warning for crime to a level 2? Turks and Caicos. Now, where most of the ships come in and out of, it's a Grand Turk, and it is a private beach resorty kind of place. There's a Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville there. There are lots of stores, obviously, taxis, bars, etc. There's a great beach there. Palm trees are growing, sand chairs. But the challenge is that away from this area, because there's been nothing reported in this area. When we went, we didn't leave this beach or this area. It was just too cool to pay and go somewhere else. It's a great place. It's a great place to find shells. If it's on your itinerary, let me tell you some places that we do. Anyway, if you're going there, don't leave the cruise port area. You have probably 60 acres at your access. You shouldn't need more than that. Just plan for a beach day that day. Okay, enough said. All right. There are lots of scams, and I mentioned it and talked about them last week, but a new one that came up this week was Jetline Cruises. It's mainly, and it goes under many, many names. That's the problem. They're based in the UK. They go under Cruises and More. They go under Save on the Sun. They go under Jet Holidays. They go under, oh my goodness. The rest of them were so small, I can't read them. But they offer every major cruise line out there, guys. And it's just one of those, if it sounds too good to be true, believe it. Believe it. People are showing up for trips and they have nothing. They have a fake but very official looking confirmation. It may look just like the last one you got on Royal Caribbean or Disney or whomever, but when you get to that cruise port, you do not have a reservation. And the cruise lines are, they're not backing it up because most of them are sailing full. It's a real issue. Deal with your local travel professional, somebody you know, like, and trust, okay? You just need to be way more vigilant about these things. Okay. Oh, good. I got through all of those. Okay. Now I want to tell you about the bonus that I've got for tonight. And it's, oh my goodness, I don't even like to read stories like this, but to keep you abreast, I have. These are why people are being denied more and more in 2025. Listen up. Airlines. So they're seen as at airports, cruise ports. It's happening all over. Let me help you be aware. They're failing to meet the health requirements. So, do you know if you show up at the airport and you're coughing and maybe your cheeks are flushed, you're not allowed to get on airplanes if you are sick. So, if they notice it and your temperature is taken, they can deny you boarding. Same thing with cruises. Same thing with theme parks. Theme parks. What if you've paid all this money to go to Disney for 4 or 5 days and you show up and you're coughing, hacking, and your kid's running, his nose is running, and they can deny you entrance. Okay, that's one thing for you to think about. Some international cruises and entrance to like venues, they're going back and asking again for your vaccination mandates. It is mainly in South America. So don't sweat it. It's because there's been so much sickness there. That's the reason. So don't sweat it. It's not here. I don't think it's coming here. Too much protest about that, and too many people just quit traveling. So next, the health requirement questionnaires. So when you fly into St. Lucia, say, same if you are getting ready to board a cruise ship, you have this little health questionnaire. Small, size of an old speeding ticket. Now speeding tickets are big. I hadn't had one in a while. Thank you, Lord. But anyway, if you lie on that and sign it at the bottom, read it carefully. It says, I sign it under penalty of perjury. If you sign this and you really are sick and you go ahead and try to travel and they deny you, you're not getting anything back. Better hope you have good travel insurance. And you know what? I take that back. Let me rephrase that. If you fraudulently travel or attempt it, they can deny plausibility. They can deny that they're liable. So where if you called the day before and said, I can't go because I'm sick, oh, that's a covered reason. A lot of difference. One of the reasons that I decided to deal only with people that I know and want to work with. I don't want to deal with the public and have to deal with some of these issues that are out there now. Okay. The next thing are missing travel documents. Now, if you work with me, we go through a checklist of what you need to have and where you need to have it. You need to have an extra copy of that passport somewhere else on your body, in a inside pocket, in your money belt, somewhere else, in case those become missing. Lots of little things that can be tweaked that will save you time, or more than anything, these should give you peace of mind to know what to do to avoid these situations. The missing documents now, though, are like the UK is requiring a visa. It can help you with that. Don't be buying them from these scam websites. Go to the government sites. If you need help, I'm happy to share it with you. Same thing with the EU visa that's now out. If you get over there and you don't have these, even travel insurance is not going to cover you. Not. It's not the travel insurance responsibility for you to be unprepared. It's your responsibility as a traveler to have everything that you need to get on that ship. Their responsibility is if something happens to you before you go, or in your family and you can't go because of an illness or a sickness. That's what that's for. Okay. One other thing are packing banned items. Now, the first thing I read was if you are listed as always taking on banned items, you are getting on a blacklist, mainly with cruise lines, but Disney Cruises shares their information with Disney theme parks. So it would stand to hold true that this is now getting passed around. Okay, you're not supposed to pack weapons. I just said more than 50 weapons confiscated in Charlotte Airport since the beginning of this year. Long extension cords, no more. Can't take them anymore. You know, I've been telling you for a couple years, you can take them as long as you don't have a surge protector on it. Now they won't let you take them at all. They'll just take them away from you. They'll give them back to you at the end of the cruise. No CBD products. Even if it's legal in your state, it is a federal issue when you're in maritime law. Not allowed. We'll get you kicked off the ship if you're caught with it. They can keep you from boarding because you knew this ahead of time. If you book your own trips, all those little details when it says check, I read on the terms and conditions. I know that we don't read them. I try to explain them to my customers, but if you book things yourself, you better start reading these things. People threaten suits and all that stuff. And you know, even being an unruly passenger, being disrespectful to crew members before you get on ship, they can say, you're not allowed to come on this sailing. It has happened. It has happened in the new terminal in Miami. Okay. Extra booze. If they catch you trying to sneak on extra booze, now you have just broken the contract, and they can now say, no, they're not going to do it probably on the first time, but they can now say, sorry, you can't get on the ship. You did not abide by your cruise contract. Then I just said blacklisted. Blacklisting is going, like, if you're blacklisted as Royal Caribbean, it's definitely getting shared to Celebrity. If you've been on there a couple years, it was already shared to Azamara. If you're blacklisted on Carnival, where a lot of these blacklistings come from, because it's been known to be rowdy the last few years, they are working on it. But anyway, you're blacklisted on Carnival. You're blacklisted on, or you're not blacklisted, you're under watch for suspicious activities with Princess, Seabourn, Cunard, all of their products. Those would be the only ones that we'd be selling in and around the United States. Okay. Something happens, just stay calm, because they can call you unruly. I've been known to be unruly. I'm going to have to work on that. Okay. Unpaid cruise balances, and not just from this sailing. Unpaid cruise balances from even a previous sailing. This has been noted to happen twice since the first of the year. They got back on a Royal Caribbean ship. They hadn't been on Royal Caribbean in a couple years. They got to the cruise terminal. The reservation had been canceled for a balance that had sat there for more than 2 years. Boy, wouldn't you be mad? Okay. Arriving late. You have a window of time to get there. They've started kind of filing people in. You're supposed to be there between 10 and 11. You're supposed to be there between 11 and 12. You're not supposed to be there. Our last time was at 2:30. Here's the challenge. People who get there late, maritime law says you must be on board 90 minutes prior to departure. So when they shut that door, there is no opening it. If you're 10 minutes late, if you call and say there's been an accident, they're going to say, I'm sorry, that's the very latest that you can arrive and get on the ship. It's why we always go a day early, mainly for weather situations, or mechanical breakdowns or things like that. But whew, they're getting real hard on it, folks, because they're losing money because they are full. Okay. Pregnancy, I couldn't believe this. If you think you can sneak by because I don't look very big, if you are 24 weeks or more pregnant, you cannot travel. If you look anywhere close like that, they can require a letter from your doctor at the cruise terminal. So my pregnant passengers always know to get a doctor ahead of time. They're going to say, here's expected due date. And I think that it's fine for her to travel on XYZ cruise line for these travel dates. Then you can go. Then, do you know that even babies have to have a birth certificate? But there have been baby families show up, and because they could take the baby for free on the airline, they got to the cruise port, no free babies, none. They're a soul on board a cruise ship. They pay the same as everybody else. People have been turned away with a newborn under 6 months old. You can't even travel under 6 months old on a cruise ship. Well, let me say, U.S. cruise ships, that's the policy of everybody I had time to look at today. Sniffer dogs. Okay, Carnival brought this out almost 2 years ago. It's becoming more and more frequent. Now, many cruise lines, especially South Florida, sorry, got that reputation. Sniffer dogs, if they come sniff your luggage, you're going to get pulled aside. And there are more than just the cruise people there. That's their security. There's TSA, there's Homeland Security standing there. They're ready to take you away if you blow it. And I couldn't believe this was a thing, but dress code violations. So don't show up in a bathing suit. I don't care if it's 90 degrees outside. There have been people denied boarding because they came inside. They had to go back out of the cruise terminal and buy an outfit to cover up or borrow one. And they're the ones who got ballistic. They were denied boarding of getting on the whole ship. Behavior flags. They're watching for people. They're watching for arguments. They're watching for suspicious activity. And it may not stop there. They may let you board the ship, but you are still on their behavioral flag list. It's just one of the things that's going on this year you should know about. Luggage. Just because an airline lets you take it on, or do you know that internationally, we don't have this problem in the US, but internationally, there are cruise ships that people are arriving to, and they were able to carry all this stuff with them. They get to the cruise ship and cannot carry it. They have to ship it back or do something with it and hope they have enough time to do it before the cruise leaves. Restricted items. This has been really an uptick in Italy, but they're buying all these delicacies and trying to travel with them. It's a huge fine. It's going to delay you and your whole traveling party. And then you're going to be on another list. Don't get on the list. Okay. I'm off my soapbox now. Let me get back to this. I wanted to share with you, I got 3 more balconies for our sailing in January. We are traveling January 3rd through the 11th. It's an 8-night cruise on same ship on Celebrity's Eclipse, and a balcony room for 2 with everything included is $4,100 for 2 people, right at that. So a little bit more than $4,100. Anyway, by the time you add your gratuities, which will have everything included, cruise, It is $43.09 for 2 people. $43.09. If you don't want the beverage package and the Wi-Fi and all the perks, it drops at about $700 a person. So it'll be up to you to judge that. I had a really, really cool, dang it, I had a really cool picture to show you that you were supposed to be able to see with all of our pictures from this January, but I guess you have to come back next Monday and see it then. Hey, if you haven't liked us on YouTube yet, please go over there and check it out. This takes one little subscribe. I don't do anything with those. I just would like to see the numbers go up. I did the wrong thing and grew it right here instead of on YouTube. All right, guys, I do appreciate you. I appreciate you showing up and I love to hear your questions. I try to answer them in the next week. Come check us out again. And thanks so much. Ciao.